I say, what about if you just, instead of seeing it this way, to just invite your partner, the women in your environment, and share that what you're learning or what you're experiencing, and to wake up their curiosity. You know, so what I want to say is there is not right or wrong in the way how it is.
So yes, we might not be in the same path at times, or anybody could be in the same path at times of growth. But the fact that we do understand what maybe our role is at that point in time is just support, just holding space for the person to grow. And then seeing them grow makes us happy. And then we could also start growing ourselves incrementally.
Welcome to the Alchemy of Success podcast.
Your podcast for career, personal, and consciousness expansion. I'm Pedro.
And I'm Anna. And today we're going to talk about a topic whether it is our responsibility when we change also to change our partner in order to keep the relationship going on. And we would like to elaborate this topic also from the perception of a woman and a perception of a man, because I believe that women have very often a little different way of seeing things as a man, and that's why it's so good that Pedro and I are kind of a representative of this two kind of say energies more stronger. So, Pedro, what is about, because you've been also going through personal development and changing yourself. And by the way, when we talk about relationship, we'll go to the different relationship types, loving relationships with, your business partner or like colleagues or company, and up to also relationship with our siblings and family. So it's everything what we say. Actually, you can really use it for the different way, but we're just going to go also in the different areas. So depending on where you feel the most challenging, stay with us, because we believe that you're going to grab a lot of value that Pedro and I went through these different phases in different relationships. And you can find out for you what's the best way to navigate as you're listening to this podcast. So that means you're already on the path of personal development and conscious expansion, right?
That's right. That's right.
So when I start on the personal development path, I really wanted to pull my ex-husband, my husband with me. When I started even deeper now with my ex-boyfriend, I really wanted everything that I learned, where I could shed off more of myself, where I can realize more of myself. I really was sending all this information to him. I was really sharing with him, and I was really looking for him to develop and expand so he can keep the pace with me. I really wanted, because I wanted to make it happen. But he was doing okay, but he wasn't willing to keep the pace on this level that I was insisting. You know what I mean? That was my inner like, oh, I developed. So I realized this, he needs to realize it also. I go with, you know what I mean? It's like kind of this, I want it to be a shared experience and a shared growth. So not to left the other one behind.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to develop so far away from him and left him behind.
So you held yourself back?
Yes.
Okay.
I either held myself back, or I give him all what I learned, what I was experiencing, give it to him. And I was kind of expecting, or at least wishing, that he also engaged to the level that I engaged. So the gap doesn't get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I didn't want the gap to get bigger. Mm-hmm. Because that happened with my ex-husband and myself when I realized, okay, I don't want to be employee anymore. I want to be, to have my freedom. But he was happy with his employment. But I knew I cannot live with him this way. I knew, because I wanted the freedom. But when you have a partner who doesn't have the freedom, you're like having an anchor, like you're anchoring your shift, and you cannot you know, just go and slide because your husband is anchored in,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least back there. Now I know that there could be still walk around and so on. There is like more than one way to do it. But back there, I was like understanding freedom is my most important. And he was like willing to stay in his comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just feeling how the gap is created. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I felt kind of obligated. Oh my God, I don't want this relationship to go apart. So I felt like I need to pull my partner with me so the relationship doesn't fall apart. And I felt it as my responsibility to do this so.
Mm-hmm.
Till I came to the realization with my ex-partner that, okay, you know what? I'm going my path. If he's willing to develop to the level to hold, and I don't say that I'm better than him. I just say where I develop, if he doesn't want to keep the pace in this direction, it's okay. And either we will find a consensus, we'll find an agreement where we feel both good in this way, or this relationship just naturally will fall apart, but without grudge, without negativity, without all this, blaming, but more about it just naturally we both will feel that the way how the one develop and the other develop, or maybe stay more in the comfort zone or develop in other direction, it doesn't resonate anymore this way. So the gap gets too big and we come to the solution. Okay, in order for him to tap into the potential, he can expand, and me also, the best way for us is to separate. And it doesn't mean we separate forever. It doesn't mean that it's not that you're holding an option. Yeah, we'll come back together. It's not that you're holding an option. Okay, that's forever, ever done and never ever coming back. It's like letting go and just go. Everybody goes their own path. And if it's meant to be the path that goes and the gap, will find a way to close the gap or not. But it's just an acceptance that every person has their own decision over the path of development. And it's not the one better than the other one, because that's what the ego tries to tell you sometimes. Oh, when I do this and this, I'm like, no, 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 that's just the ego. Just to understand,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to let go of this responsibility that I need to pull my partner in the direction where I go in order to make this relationship stay, how to say, in order to make this relationship to work. But instead to understand, okay, this I develop for myself because that is what I'm willing. That is what it feels and resonate good with me. Of course, I can give some ideas and I can share some experience. And if it's resonate with a person and it's his or her own decision, they can do it. But if it doesn't resonate, I'm also willing to stay in peace with their decision and then just make it the most natural way of either strengthen the relationship or the relationship just in a natural, very easy way, just separate, because both feels that it doesn't resonate anymore.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, a lot of women. So just be 100% transparent and clear. A lot of women that I know been to all these events. You've been to a ton of events. I've been to some events, not a ton like you.
I'm reducing the number. I'm picking it more consciously,
Okay.
but yet, yeah, I know. That's my energy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my north node. It's Gemini energy. So that's why it's like connecting, communicating, being all over the place.
So so I've been to events, and the majority of these events, very few couples. Very few couples. There's a lot of individual people, whether it be men or women, that are attending, and these are self improvement events. Okay, and you have no idea how many times that people come up to us. Oh my goodness, you guys must be like the only third, like the third couple I've seen in this thousand, like 1,000 people, 2,000 people. It's like ridiculous. But more importantly is, as I talk to all these people individually, I can too also be a social butterfly. As I talk to people and they start opening up, I was telling Anna I have this face that people just tell me their life story.
It's the priest,
It's a priest.
Pedro the priest.
And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And so they tell me, and I start finding out that they do have a partner. Some of them are actually married and they've been married for a long time. Some of them have been going out with them for like 5 years, like a decent amount of length. And they go, oh, they're not here. They're like, no. It's usually the women. This is why I'm saying women tend to grow and they're always developing and always growing. They go, oh, yes, he's at home. He's not really into this kind of stuff. He doesn't really, he's just focused on working. He's focused on this. He focused on that. But it's not his thing. So that's something that I've consistently been hearing. It's not his thing. Like, okay, so how does that work? This is what I hear. I'm telling you what I hear. Well, they realize because the woman is developing and understanding things at a greater scale. They're understanding also he also has a role in my development. And his role right now is to support me, meaning, go ahead, baby, go ahead and go to the 2 week retreat, go to the 1 week, go to this conference room because it makes her happy. So the husband is actually also happy. To be honest with you, we men, the way we're built, we're visual. This is what it means. If we see the woman excited, happy, content, we automatically get excited, happy, and content. We're very visual. So if I see my wife, she wants to go to an event, and she's done it many times here as well, and I cannot go for whatever I need to do for my priorities. I go, baby, go enjoy, because I want to see her happy. So yes, we might not be in the same path at times, or anybody could be in the same path at times of growth. But the fact that we do understand what maybe our role is at that point in time is just support, just holding space for the person to grow. And then seeing them grow makes us happy. And then we could also start growing ourselves incrementally, not like that, but incrementally, then that's good enough. So that's where I'm coming from, because all these women tell me this pretty much the same thing, that they have a partner that's supporting them, which is why they're there. So I thought that was beautiful. Yes, they're not there. They're not maybe diving deep into this self growth like the women are, but I thought it was great that at least they know their role at that point in time. And I think that's great. So I just want to share that with you.
Yeah, that's, I think that is pretty much also an observation, and I would say in the Western world, because I was a few months ago in Egypt, and I was traveling with our tour guide, with our group, and also with our driver. And I was having conversation with the driver because in Egypt, he told me, and I heard it also from different people, that there is the opposite. There is where currently, so that the men are more into the path of personal development, like conscious expansion and doing all these stuffs. And what I heard from them is that they feel kind of like feeling like this is creating a gap between them and the women in their society. One of the expression was like that the women in their society has way too close mind. And my kind of thought around that, or what I share with him, and I say, okay, what is if instead of seeing it this way, you just realize that is how your society has been functioning for years, because the women there were the nurturing, the mother, holding the family together, taking care of the children and so on. So never thinking about like, growth, career, whatever, or maybe to expand their knowledge and understanding beyond, the holding the space for the family, And I say, what about if you just, instead of seeing it this way, to just invite your partner, the women in your environment, and share that what you're learning or what you're experiencing, and to wake up their curiosity. You know, so what I want to say is there is not right or wrong in the way how it is. It's just, I just feel it in a from my side when I was talking with women. Yes, they were saying this, and yet when they start observing some pattern from their partner, that because when you start reflecting yourself and when you go on this personal development, like first attaining different skills in communication, whatever, but especially when you tap more into the psychic, into the way how our brain is developed, how our thoughts are developed, how our beliefs are there, and to understand that not everything that we believe in is actually our true self, you know? It's like what we pick up from our family, from our society, from the way how we grow, from the experiences we had, but not necessarily actually our true authentic self. And when we go on this path, we start peeling all these layers of beliefs and patterns. Give it just a very stupid pattern. When my child was young and he didn't want to do something, I unconsciously use one phrase, and that is when he said, "No, I don't want it. I don't want it." And I tell him, what you don't want? You don't want to be a king?" And I realized that was the phrase my mom used to use when I was a child to tell me if I don't want something. What do you want? You don't want to be a queen, because like I'm like a girl, and I hated it. Because instead of like really listening to my need, where I'm sharing what I don't want, she kind of turned it into like a joke or like ignorance. And I unconsciously start using it till one day I was like, why do I use this phrase? I hated it as a child. And that is where I started like understanding, oh my God, I'm using the same words or the same phrase I experienced as a child that I actually hated, and start observing it and changing it consciously, and it takes some time. But what I mean is, when you start realizing that you are acting on a pattern, you start also seeing the pattern in your partner, especially when you interact with his or her parents. You see, oh, that's why you say, the mother is the daughter, the father is the son, or the son is the father. It's because we pick on this pattern and we take it as a given, as a fact, but it's not a fact. It's just something we pick up from our growth. And when you develop and you start on working on this pattern to let go, I don't know how I think your relationship with your wife is a little different because she was more mature when you get together. So you had kind of the privilege to directly connect with a woman who has already went through this phase. So she were able from the beginning to navigate you, and not first to create like a base of relationship. And then suddenly the one start developing stronger and the one like staying in their comfort zone. But in my case, and in case from a lot of us, is the one partner start kind of developing. And that could be not just a love relationship, could be in a business relationship or like working relationship or like family relationship. Oh my God, when I start expanding my understanding, it was difficult to communicate with my parents. At the beginning, I really needed to pull my energy out of this communication because I didn't want it to be put back into the old pattern, their expectation, how I used to act, because I started changing, but I felt I'm not strong enough. And I kind of felt, okay, I'm not there to force them. But of course, in some way, I still try to give them some other viewpoints. And they were sometimes stubborn, sometimes was open, but sometimes stubborn. for this. But it's like mm, the one partner start developing and the other one stays there for the beginning and maybe also for the lasting of the relationship. Is it right or wrong? Is it right to pull our partner, to try to push them or pull them to the direction where we go? Or is it the right way to accept it? And if it's accepted, is it align with the new identity?
Well, that's the biggest question right now. Out of all the questions, that's the one that the most important thing. Is it aligned with your new identity? Okay, then that means that you actually understand who you are. If you understand who you are, who are you valuing the most, and what's actually, how are you holding space for your partner to maybe allow him to grow incrementally, or know that internally it's holding you back from really being who you are? We go back to the identity. Who are you then? Who are you? So if you could answer that question of where you are in your development stage, that question alone will allow you to understand, am I the person that allows people to understand that they are where they are, and they incrementally, you see little, maybe little signs that they'll grow on their own, where you no longer have this need to pull anybody? Or,
But then it's a natural decision again.
and there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Exactly
nothing,
when a relationship then kind of fade, if it's to fade out, right?
if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But you go back to, like, it's all about yourself. Like, where are you in your development stage that you're recognizing, okay, I've been sharing, I've been pulling, I have seen no movement. So now it goes back to you. Are you okay? Are you okay with just leaving it the way it is? And are you really okay? And here's what I mean. Okay, we could say we're okay with it, but then we start little snippies here and the snippies there, little talk back here, and it comes out, and the man will feel it. The man will know it because your energy is gonna be off. And you're gonna say certain words that might actually hit. You're gonna do this, stick a little knife in there on the ribs in there. Yeah, so they'll know it. They'll know it if they've been out. If they've been with you for a while, they will definitely know it. So it goes back to you. What do you feel comfortable doing? It's really your decision. That's why you're 100%. There is no right and wrong.
Or the decision of the part. Yeah, it's like
That's the thing. Is for me. So here's my view on relationships and partnerships.
loving
I
or every loving relationship.
everything, everything.
Okay.
I choose for that person to be with me. My wife is choosing to be with me. What does that mean to me? Me? I don't need anybody to be happy. I really don't. But is my happiness enhanced because of the other individual? Am I finding more joy? Am I finding more of myself because of the other individual? Then I choose for that person to stay with me. So when I have a partnership relationship, whether you're married or not married, you're always choosing. So that means you always have to know what you really are good with and what you're not good with. But you're always choosing. And the fact that you're choosing them and they're choosing you, that's a game changer. That's, for me, is like, that's the greatest compliment anyone could ever give. Not I'm forced because I have a piece of paper telling me I have to be married with you. I can't go anywhere with you. Or in a long-term relationship. No, it has nothing to do with that because we're living together. But I'm literally choosing every single day, Anna, that I wake up. Every day I'm choosing my wife because of all these amazing things she gives me. All these things that she allows me to grow into, that I'm experiencing this joy with. And sometimes there's challenges, but I even enjoy the challenges. But I am choosing that experience. And she's choosing me. So to honor me and to honor her, we know that we're both individuals. That's why, to me, a relationship has nothing to do with people together. It has everything to do with who the heck you are and who the heck that person is. And together, if you choose each other, you're constantly choosing a new experience. To me, that's success. If you have that kind of mindset, because you will always be within yourself. Always, always be within yourself. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
No, it definitely makes sense. Absolutely. I'm just thinking whether what kind of level of understanding you should have in order to understand that it's first, it comes always first about yourself. You know, it's like it's always put yourself first, and that has nothing to do with egoistic decision, but it's more about if you put yourself first and take care that you feel good, that automatically the people around you will feel good, that are the right for you. And if you choose not to stay with somebody, it has nothing to do with the person per se, but it's about you choosing yourself and your inner peace and your happiness and understanding that, okay, the interaction with this partner, doesn't matter whether it's loving relationship, business relationship, or whatever, is not anymore serving you in the same way you are then not serving anymore the other person.
Because, and I'm telling you, if we don't do this, guess who's going to be miserable, and guess who's going to have the little temper tantrums? Guess who's going to have these little quirks? It's going to come out from me. So how do you think the relationship is going to fare out if we don't do that? It's not going to be good anyway. It's going to come out. You can't hide it. You can't stuff it in, which is why people just go back to their work. People go back to school at night because they can't stand going home. They just keep going degree after degree after degree because even though they don't need it, but they can't be
Just
at
to
home
keep busy
just to stay
away.
busy. That's my whole point is, so if you don't understand what your internal happiness is and you're miserable, you start becoming miserable because you fall into this ideology of, oh, my perfect partner will be this. My perfect partner should be able to grow with me at the same pace. My blah, 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 blah. You are literally setting yourself up for failure. Either you are happy with yourself, and the fact that that person's holding or doing that environment, creating that environment for you to be happy with yourself, to find yourself. If that's your happiness, then that's good. He doesn't have to be the same level as you do. But, but if you feel you need that strong connection, which I know we're humans, we're mammals. We put back to mammals. We need that strong connection. I need some deep conversation. I need some deep this introspection, all that stuff. Then it's okay for you to find it, but you need to make a decision about that.
It's a choice. We're coming
It
back to
is
the
always a
choice.
choice. It is
I think
always a
it's, I think sometimes we're afraid to make this choice, especially if there is no visible reason for this, like fight or like, you know, um, it's sometimes difficult to make this choice,
but no,
to walk away, or when you're dependent on somebody. You know, when you create a dependence relationship, either with a loving partner or with your business partner, for example, you know, so create a business together, but then you feel like, okay, it doesn't feel good anymore.
so
And
let's
it,
go.
mhm.
Sorry, Anna, go ahead. I interrupted
No,
you.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is what I'm. So now let's go through the evolution of that. So now, if you're at that place, you understand that you're choosing. You know who you are and whatever you're choosing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hit that stage of choice of knowing who you are and saying this is no longer I'm no longer happy. It's creating
Mm-hmm.
a place of unhappiness. Okay. When you make that choice, and even if it's leaving or whatever you want to do, once you make that choice, you are changing yourself externally too, which means the next potential relationship out there will not be falling in love with the honeymoon stage. That's over. The next potential relationship is falling in love with who you actually are at that point in time. They're getting attracted to who you are at that in its entirety of who you are. You don't think you rather prefer to have that relationship versus the one that you're choosing or meandering or thinking forever, like, what's going on, or is it ever going to change? And you're still miserable throughout the whole process. Why not allow somebody that's in your resonance, your frequency, see who you are, be like fall in. That's how I fell in love with my wife. Because so I was dating before. The reason that it was very short dates and I didn't date long is because I was bored with the conversations. I was looking for deep, introspective conversations.
With 22.
I was. I'm telling you.
Whoa.
I'm telling
Okay.
you. Yes.
So guys, He was 22 when he went with together when he came together with his wife. Deep conversation.
Deep.
Okay,
I mean,
back
I
there
mean,
the 22 was looking for partying, alcohol, and not everybody, but don't want
I
to
I did
stereotype
that for
it.
fun. I did that for fun, but for a relationship, that's not that's temporary. I wanted something like that's really that allows me to grow. So just that I didn't have a long relationship. My longest relationship prior to that was 2 months. That was my longest relationship because I knew when I saw signs that I was not okay with. The biggest one was jealousy. If a woman was jealous, like really jealous, that's it. I'm out. I didn't. I was not okay with that because there's a lot of deep rooted issues.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I no, seriously, I was out. I was like, I'm done. That's not cool. So I'm done. But I was looking for like deep conversations, exploration of the self. Because I was questioning, I told you my religion. Remember, I gave you that example when I was 9.
Hmm?
So I've been having a lot of years of that. More and
By
more
the way, that's what
questions.
he's talking about. We talked last in the previous episode. So if you want to understand more about, yeah, this, you can go back there.
So that's why now that was just part of me of the big search. I was in the big search. And then if I wasn't where I was at that point in time and my wife wasn't where she was in her development at that point in time, we would have never gotten together. Never. So what I mean is if she wasn't her true self, we go back to what I was trying to tell. If she doesn't wasn't her true self, I would have never been attracted to her. That's what I'm trying to tell
But that was your conscious level. But most of the time, especially when you're younger, my experience is that you tend to resonate with somebody who will be there to show you what's within you that need to be healed, that need to be shifted, that need to be, it's like, it's because very often when we're young, we tend to go in a relationship from an unhealed, from limiting beliefs, from a lack of like, okay, I'm just this one part and my partner needs to be the other part, like when it comes together to be a puzzle, instead to understand, oh no, actually I'm the whole cake and my partner is just the cherry on the cake. The cake is still the full cake, even if the cherry is gone. And not to make it like not important in the life, but it means it add, like you said, add to your full self. It makes it from 100%, maybe 120%, but, especially in my relationship, I was like looking for the other half of the cake. And when you start developing these parts that you were looking in your partner because the partner resonated, it's like, it's mirror it. You start of saying, oh, it doesn't fit anymore, kind of. You know what I mean? It's like the cake is like, it's not, the puzzle pieces are not fitting anymore together.
that's let's say you have to
So,
go to the filling.
hmm?
You have to go to the filling of the cake.
Yeah, no, like I'm very grateful for all of my relationship I had. And the first long one was very narcissistic and abusive kind of way. Back there, I didn't really realize it, to a later state. But yet I was grateful for this because I learned very quickly, okay, what I don't want and what I want, especially the part with the jealousy. Oh my God, that really killed me. Me, a person who connect with everybody like that, to have somebody who actually stop your natural connection with people, because of his insecurity, like really killed all my environment. And I allow it because I was 17. I was young. I was like, okay, like I didn't know myself. I didn't stand my boundary. So, but I learned 5.5 years, very painful, but I learned. So from there, I never ever had anyone. I had a long-term relationship who's jealous at all because I learned this from the first one. So painful that I say, uh. So I just get all this out of my system. But yet, let me ask you a question. So if somebody's watching now and imagine it's like married couple
Mhm.
and there is children involved.
Mm.
And now the one person who's now watching feels like, okay, I kind of feel that it's not resonating anymore. Of course, there is two paths. Take some consultancy, can work on this, take somebody like you, for example. I know that you're also working with couples, and so want to see what is the indifference and whether this indifference is whether this gap can be closed. So both have the container of their own happiness, like you said. So both of them can feel happy in their relationship, or if not, to be like a natural decision of like, okay, choice to separate. But if they don't take this path, and you have this kind of, it feels like shared responsibility for the children, or maybe you have kind of, I don't know, properties or whatever. It's make it it makes it a little complicated, let we say. How could be, of course, there is no one fit all, but that I'm sitting here and watching this and saying, okay, what should I do? I'm afraid. Or I'm maybe, for example, as a wife or as a man, could be both way, kind of financial also dependent on my partner.
That's one of the biggest things that I hear from women why they don't leave. It's not just the children, it's really the financial dependency on the partner. That's what I hear a lot.
Yeah, but how do you do it? Because then it's not, at least it looks like it's not easy to make a choice because you feel like choiceless. You feel like stuck. It wasn't my case, but you know.
So it so unfortunately it depends on a lot of different things. So I could give you different advices for different situations because we'll go down just two different situations because there's many.
Mm-hmm.
The big one that I told you that says that people speak a lot about is the woman is usually financially dependent on the man. Even though the woman is working, say the man's working a lot more money and the man, if they're off residence, they might use that. I pay for the house, use that against them. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why maybe it's not a great relationship to begin with because there's a lot of back and forth and
Mm-hmm.
trying to manipulate the other individual with their emotions. So anyway, so the biggest reason, if that's the biggest reason, then you have to have a conversation really more with the woman and saying, okay, can you really not financially sustain yourself? You start becoming factual. Is that really a reality? If the answer is yes, then is it one different advice? The answer is no, it's a different advice, what they can potentially do. Or you allow the woman to really explore what's at the crust of actually you saying, the woman saying, why are you really still with the relationship? If they tell you it's financial, then you do that the factual math. Oh, wait a minute. You actually can't afford to be on your own. You can't afford to be with you and your kids. So what is it really that's holding you back? Why haven't you really decided to go to the other path of going down the divorce path, separation path? You have to get to the root cause of what's really happening, not with the marriage. See, this is the big thing. I keep telling you people this. What's happening inside with her? If it's a woman, with her, what's happening inside? Oh, yeah, actually, he always puts me down. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, how is he putting you down? Da, 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 da. Okay. Oh, so he's been doing that from the beginning. Okay. How far back is that? Has anybody else put you down that way? Oh, yeah. I remember when my mother used to tell me this and tell me that. Okay, okay, okay. Got it. So what I'm saying is maybe their emotions are tied to something that's outside of the marriage.
So you're going to recommend actually to seek someone from outside to help them go through the
Internally
process?
first. Yeah. Go through that process first. Because it doesn't make, because sometimes we think, oh, we need to make a change. We need to separate because this person's like this, and that. And we've learned in the previous episodes that we've already done, that could be your past talking to you. And that could be the past, the emotions that are coming within this relationship that you haven't healed yourself. So figure out what really is happening and can it really be salvaged? Is there an opportunity for growth and reconciliation before you go down that path? Okay. And if you go through that entire process, that after the person goes into that entire process, they find out, okay, yes, I can do this, and yes, I can change this, and I choose to change myself within it, great. If the answer is no, I don't, then she can start making a game plan of how she gets out of this relationship. But it's not about making the change, it's about understanding why you're changing, why you have to make the change. It's the why you have to make the change. That's the most important thing.
Mm.
And don't and sometimes we do it out of reflex. Oh, it's the money. Oh, it's this. Okay, go a little deeper. Because there has to be more deeper reasons why. And sometimes it is. So it's really more of the person understanding themselves why they actually want to make that change. What do they equate growth with? Is it just because he's not going to these events with you, or he's not tapping into the same belief as you, or doesn't do this, or what is it really that's really bothering?
And it's the same also for the men, on
Absolutely,
the other
hundred
side. It's
percent,
like, it's
hundred
just
percent,
just an example. Yeah,
hundred
exactly.
percent.
Yeah.
But
And it's the same with the business relationship. I know that when I started shifting and realizing that the business partner I was having doesn't resonate anymore with me, it's not that it's painless, of course, because your ego try to explain you, oh, without this business partner, without this, opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But looking backwards, choosing my own peace and myself over an interaction that doesn't serve me anymore was always a good idea. In the middle, to make the decision to choice is not always easy. But when you stay true to yourself, like you said, I'm now getting with business partner along that are so way more genuine, true, supportive, and I have a completely different level of business relationships than I had 2 years ago, because I make the choice. Okay, I'm expanding, and the people I was working back there, not that they're bad or something else, but they doesn't resonate anymore with me. And it's good. They can go their own path, and I'm happy for them, and I'm wishing them all the best and like all the success they can have, but not anymore with me. And like you said, as we spoke in the last episode about the FOMO, when you let go of the people or the circumstances that doesn't serve you anymore, actually you create more space again for something to come that resonates with your new identity, with the boundaries you set, with the version you say. Because as you said, your wife, when you get together with her, she knew what she wanted. She already did the work. She already has a clarity about who she is. And you felt in love in the true version of hers, you know, and not into the one unmature, still going through with the limiting beliefs and so on and so on. But also she knew by connecting with you in a relationship that you know who she is and you take it for the version of herself. And of course, we're always developing and expanding. Let me be true. You never stop. Otherwise you're going to die.
mm-hmm,
But it's the core. When you realize who you are in the core and you communicate it, you very quickly can see, okay, I'm not investing any more time in this conversation or relationship, or I'm investing deeper.
mm-hmm. And to me, here's a little test that people could do at home with their partners. You want to test your connection with your partner? Try this. And you just have to spend 20 minutes in an entire week. 20 minutes. So
Ooh,
this will tell you a lot.
that's a long time.
No, it's not. I know you're kidding. So get whatever oil, scented oil, whatever oil you want. Okay. Rub it warmly in your hands and give your partner for 10 minutes a massage wherever place he or she likes the most. And just focus on you giving. Your job is simply to give, and their job is simply to receive. And see and test how connected you are to their body, how connected you are to them spiritually and also mentally. But don't talk. Just feel the connection. There's a connection there. You feel it. Okay. 10 minutes are up. The other partner, you switch places. Their turn to give and your turn to receive. And the reason this is a connection thing that I like to tell people is if you can't find 20 minutes within 7 days of connecting to somebody that you've been with, there's really deep rooted concerns in your relationship. It's not just about the money. It's not just about this and that. About other things that you guys have gotten to maybe potentially, unfortunately, that point where there is no more connection. So that will be an eye opener for a lot of people. If you can't even spend 20 minutes in 7 days to give yourself and they give themselves to you for that beautiful connected moment, the touch, the presence, the now, then there's serious issues. I mean, and don't come to me. Go to a marriage counselor. Go to everything too fun. I can't help because there's a lot of anger and resentment there. Probably, maybe, and not because I'm not a marriage therapist licensed, so that's what I'm being very cautious with this. But
No, no. He's
that's a big thing.
more about like to see that the gap
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
development
The
expansion.
gap. There's a big.
I had conversation with some people that are afraid to really go on this path in expansion and development in order not to find themselves out of relationships.
That's true too. That's fear of the reality. That tells you a lot, though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I know we went deeper more on loving relationships, but you can take everything we have spoken about and just put it into a business relationship with your parents, with your friends, and so on. So, definitely it's just copy and paste in a different level, of course, but yet the same kind of, challenges or situation. And at the end, I think the most important thing what you can take out of this conversation is to understand that every time when you choose your own happiness and peace, it's not egoistic again. When you choose your own happiness and peace, and when based on choosing your own happiness and peace, a relationship kind of fell apart, it just creating a space for way more aligned and beautiful relationships. This is something that always, always helps me. The knowing, because I experienced it many, many times. The knowing that when something falls apart, it's just giving more space to build something way better and stronger and that resonate more with us. And I don't say that we don't go through the phase of like pain or maybe sadness and so on, that you should suppress this emotion. But I just say sit in the awareness of when you decide to expand and to know yourself better, not, how do you say, uh, know thyself,
yeah, know thyself first. Yeah.
know thyself first, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you choose to know yourself, your authentic true self, and to let go of everything what is not through you, then you create more opportunity and resonance to connect with people who truly will value for the person you are. So don't be afraid. Don't try to push or pull whatever your partners to develop when you develop. Just know that if it's meant to be together, it will, the way will kind of align. The partner will start being interesting, or you're going to find another way to connect, you know. And if it's not meant to be, know that it's all good, because we are also actually giving a gift to our partner if they're not willing to expand in the direction that's resonate with us, that they might find someone who resonates with them where they are, or in the direction they are expanding and staying. It's not about owning somebody. It's about having a shared experience um, throughout for a particular time period in life. Could be the whole life, could be just few years, could be just months, and to understand that from every experience we both have value, and to be grateful for this. It doesn't matter whether, I won't say it doesn't matter, but it's even if it's a painful, if you are able to see the gift for you, like in my relationship when I was in the narcissistic abusive relationship, to see the gift that I made very clear decision and set my boundaries that never ever will repeat and never ever repeated actually. It's also a gift.
And that's part of growth. For you to actually recognize that you need to do that, you could do that. That's also part of your own growth. Just add it to the
Yep,
other layer.
exactly.
Hmm.
With all this said, alchemize your day in a beautiful energy and see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Click on one of the videos below and don't forget to like and subscribe.